All right, game week. So excited to be here working. Thought we had a good practice today, and we're excited about the opportunity to start off with a division opponent. Look, they got a lot of new faces from a personnel standpoint. Got some new faces in terms of coaching staff standpoint. So there'll be a lot of adjusting that'll need to be done as the game moves along. But we're certainly excited about having an opportunity to start out, open up division opponent in our building, and I think our guys will be ready to play.
This might be a weird question, but when you bring in new staff and guys that maybe have different DNA, obviously Pete and them are kind of the same as the others. What's the chemistry building process for you and the defensive staff with the offensive staff, and the communication and just kind of building that up?
Yeah, look, I think that's always kind of a work in progress, and I think that's just, in general around here, I feel like we've always worked really well together, offense, defense. We compete at a high level, and yet, we all understand that what we're trying to do is just get better as a team, and so. I think that just kind of develops over the course of time, and ultimately that's my job to make sure that there's cohesion within the staff. You know what I mean? And that's part of the hiring process. You want to make sure that you're bringing in guys that are team first type of attitudes, along with being great teachers and being solid. Whether it be solid schematics, solid relationships, there's a lot of different factors that go into that.
How do you identify the team first aspect?
I think it kind of comes up throughout the process of the, call it evaluation. We talk to a lot of people, and so there's not a whole lot of secrets in our league. So you pretty much know the guys that are difficult to work with. And guys that you feel like can come in here and fit into our culture and do the things that we need them to do and still operate at a high level and be able to be successful.
Dennis, I don't know how introspective you want to get on Monday of the first game, but as you stand here ready to start your third season as head coach, anything stand out about that gives you more confidence from what you've experienced and learned from the last 2 years?
Well, look, I think everybody grows as you gain experience, and so I think I'm in a better place than I was even at this time last year. I think I continue to grow more and more confident because I see the players believing in the message. I see the players coming together the way that I want them to come together. Now, obviously, we got to go out there and do it on Sundays. That's what it's all about. And so I saw some improvement in that regard last year. I've seen more improvement as we've gotten to this point this year. And so, I'm extremely confident in my ability to do this job, and I'm extremely confident in our team's ability.
Dennis, your thoughts on Carolina's quarterback, Bryce Young?
Well, I think he only played one series in the preseason, and it was a pretty effective series. They were able to move the ball down the field. They scored a touchdown. They got him out of the pocket a few times, got him on the move some. Looked like he was making some checks at the line of scrimmage. Looked like he was comfortable in the things that they're asking him to do. I've always felt like this is a guy that's poised in the pocket. I've always felt like this is a guy that understands how to navigate the pocket and move in the pocket. And so, look, I think, our ability to affect him in a lot of different ways, whether it be rush, coverage, how we rush him, rush integrity, maybe some different looks, I think that's going to be important. As with any quarterback, it starts with that player, and the more you're able to affect him, the more success you're going to be able to have.
Been able to identify sort of what characteristics Dave Canales brings to an offense? Is it a scheme, a system? Obviously, he's had success.
Well, look, we played against his scheme and his system last year in Tampa Bay, and you see a lot of carryover into what they're doing. He's a guy that's been, committed to being able to run the football. Obviously, they've bulked up their offensive line, a couple additions inside, and they're a big, physical offensive line. I thought they ran the ball well at times during the preseason, so I think that's certainly something that they want to be able to do. I think some of the play action pass, some of the movement passing game with the quarterbacks, obviously part of what they do. So I see a team that's well coached. I thought, look, they came in here against us early in the season last year and beat us pretty good. I thought they out executed us. I'm talking about their offense, Tampa's offense versus our defense, and so I know they're a well coached group, and I know we're going to have our hands full.
With what he was able to do with Baker last year, how do you kind of anticipate that with young, being a young quarterback? Like, how do you factor that in?
Well, look, I mean, there's probably some similarities, and yet there's probably a significant number of differences between the two quarterbacks. I think that kind of remains to be seen. Exactly what they want to do. Like I said, I mean, they looked to me like they ran their offense in that one series that he played. And, there's some runs, some play action, some quick game. There's a little bit of everything in there.
You wanted a safety to kind of step up opposite Tyron. Are you closer to that process, or is it something?
Yeah, look, I mean, I feel good about where we're at the safety position. I mean, obviously we've got, 4 available to play on the active roster right now, and so I feel good about where we're at, and we'll have Tyron will be out there, and we'll have a guy out there next to him that can play pretty well.
We didn't see a Billy Gay practice today. Is he feeling something?
Well, here's what I'll say. I'll say that we'll put out an injury report on Wednesday. So until Wednesday, I won't make any comments.
Injury or non-injury then?
It's injury related, and you guys will get a report on Wednesday.
It's full week one mode.
Full week 1 mode.
When you say you're in a better place, more confident now, are there any examples of something that happened last year that you're able to do this often?
No, I just think that's part of growing, in your job. I think every year you get more and more confident in your ability, and so I don't point to one specific thing. I mean, obviously there's been a lot of change here in the last, call it 3 years. From a personnel standpoint, from a staff standpoint, there's been a lot of changeover. So I feel good about where I'm at. I feel good about where our staff's at. I feel good about where our team's at.
With all the staff changes, was there ever a point where it started to feel more like your team? You had been able to hire, there was a lot of continuity at first.
Sure.
When you took the job. Did it ever change to feeling like, okay, these are most of the people I hired?
Yeah, look, I definitely feel like, the continuity's been really good with this group. And look, specifically offensively, these are all guys that I made the hire. And so I think anytime you do that, there's another sense of, I don't know what that word is, community, loyalty, whatever the case may be. But, I certainly sense, a cohesive staff, that's for sure.
How far along is the conversation going when it comes to Clint Kubiak calling either on the sideline or in the booth? You been able to make that decision yet?
Yes.
Share with
No.
us?
No, there's a lot of things that we'll just, we'll show up on Sunday and, no disrespect to anybody, but I think we get into game mode and we try to keep as many things in-house as we possibly can, nothing to try to give our opponents any sort of advantage.
I don't mean to be flippant, but does that actually matter? If the Panthers see Clint on the sideline?
Don't know whether they care, don't care, whatever. I just don't know that that's anything I want to divulge.
Sure.
If I can ask you.
It's a better question for them, maybe, you know what I mean?
I'll go hop over.
About Canales, and you all coached against first-time coaches, new, stats and everything like that. Is it even worth doing a deep dive on what they did last year, what he did with Geno Smith in Seattle, or because it's different personnel, some of that is inconsequential?
Yeah, well, look, I think you got to look at all of it. You know what I mean? There's certainly, I think we'd be foolish not to look at our games against Tampa Bay last year, right? I mean, because he's going to look at this is how we tried to attack this team last year. These are the things we liked. These are the things that we didn't like. You know, we played Seattle a couple of years ago. They came into our building. I think we'd be foolish not to go study that tape. You know, played Atlanta twice last year, which is a very similar defense to what we are. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of that. Look, the unknown is I have no idea how he feels about any of the players that he has other than what I read on his roster, so I don't know exactly how he's going to want to utilize those players. I think those are things that we're going to have to find out as we go along. I might have opinions, I might have thoughts, but that may change once we get into the game, so we'll have to be ready to adjust.
Are you reading a lot of like what he's saying and stuff? Is that just...
I think we're paying attention to everything. You know what I mean? You never know when somebody's going to tell you something that you know, might resonate in some form or fashion with you. So, yeah, I think we pay attention to all those things.
Does that happen a lot? Like someone tips their hand and like it's useful?
Yeah, I think every now and then you gain some valuable information. I don't think it's the difference in winning and losing a game or not, you know. And we're going to pay attention just for the fact that somebody may give us something that helps us, you know, whether it be a player or coach or whatever.
I know last week you said it was kind of still a competition you're working on yourself. I know the focus is on the starters. Have you landed on a backup quarterback officially?
Yeah, I think that's going to be something that we're going to continue to evaluate as the season goes on. Obviously, somebody's going to be the number 2 come game day. I think that declaration has to be made on Sunday, so that's probably when we'll make that declaration. You know, and I think both of Jake and Spencer both need to practice. I think they both need to try to develop. The reality is when you get into practice, whoever the backup quarterback is, and I don't care whether it's a young player or a veteran player, in all the years that I've been in the league, that player gets very, very few, if any, first-team reps in practice. Unless there's extenuating circumstances, as you know, like there was last year where Derek was a little bit limited on some days. And I don't anticipate that being a whole lot different. And so whether it be what few reps they might get with the ones, whether it be on the show team, some extra work after practice, some extra work in the film room, like those are all the things that we're going to have to do to try to, you know, work to develop both of these young quarterbacks, because we like both of them and we think both of them have a future.
You flip like pretty much every game alternating between Jake and Spencer. I mean, do you anticipate that going on? Like, could in theory Jake be the backup 1 week and Spencer be the next? Or?
I'd say in theory, yeah, that certainly could happen in theory. Now, whether that's the case or not, you know, I think we're projecting what might happen, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road, and I'm probably not in that business right now. Okay, guys, thanks.